Oh my goodness, guys. Assassin's Creed Syndicate comes with the Master Assassin Pack. Game of the Year. Hello everyone and welcome to my new YouTube channel. I'm Superplayer301 and if you're here, congratulations. You get to see somebody review a Ubisoft game. Yes, today we are going to be reviewing Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Now, instead of doing all the formalities and introducing myself, let's just get right into it. Let's go. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Oh, I've never seen a game try so hard to be incredible and fall victim to the fact that there's just some things every game can't do. So, let's just get right into it. Story-wise, the game is simple, just like every other Assassin's Creed game has ever been. You get your two stories. You get your main story from the game, and you get your real-world, present-day story. And if you don't understand why you have two stories, you got to go back and read about the Animus. It's really interesting stuff. I'm not going to be talking about the present-day story because it's garbage. I hate the present-day stories. They're never anything exciting. They're always just there because they need you to remember, oh, none of this is real. So I'm just going to explain to you about the main story of the game. Now, you follow two characters, actually, for the first time in an Assassin's Creed game, I'm pretty sure. You play as two different protagonists, Evie and Jacob Frye. Now, they're both brother and sister, and they're both polar opposites in personality and, the way that they decide to attack different operations, but we'll get to that in gameplay. One of the things I like about the game is that the characters, they have great chemistry. A lot of times when you try to use more than one main character, it doesn't work because they don't seem like they'd ever actually interact with each other in any type of environment ever. But Jacob and Evie, whoever played them, did a very great job of purveying and showing us a brother-sister relationship that worked together, because even when they dislike each other, even when they disagree, they still agree that the main point is to free London, Victorian London, from its grasp of the rich. Now, one of the things also about the story is that along with it, like in almost every Assassin's Creed game, you meet real life figures from that time, like Alexander Graham Bell, Darwin's and Dickens, and they actually have an entire mission dedicated to just those two, which is a lot of fun. And I love that the interaction between the characters, it feels like this could have actually happened, and that Ubisoft does a great job of reality suspension, where they make you believe that, oh, maybe this really happened. Maybe, we throw in a little real history with fake history, and they start to blend the lines. That's one thing I love about a good Ubisoft Assassin's Creed story. But once again, the biggest problem with the story is, well, there's a few things. One, it's oddly paced, and nothing feels like you need to do it in the game. It kind of just happens. The story just kind of tells itself. No point behind it. But the second problem, once again, is that they need to make the present day stories just feel like something. I never feel anything when I play them. I never want to explore them. I never care about the characters they're showing me. Desmond Miles could have definitely died. When Desmond Miles died, it didn't affect me at all. I didn't care. Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert. But it didn't affect me. I didn't care about him because he's just a non-essential character, because everybody cares about the main story of the game. They could remove the present day story and no one would question it. No one would care because it's not important. But overall, I think the story was decent. Like I said, strangely paced, and once again, not being in the machine, the Animus, whatever it's called, not being in it, it's just not as fun. Now, when it comes to gameplay, they made very, very few changes, but the small changes they did make made it much more enjoyable. One is what I'm going to call the Assassin's Creed hookshot, because that's what it is. Pretty much, it helps you with your verticality. It helps you explore the map quicker by using what essentially is a Batman back claw. That's essentially what it is, and it works well. At first I thought, oh, it's just gonna be gimmicky and I'm gonna hate using it. Why are they making us use it? It's gonna make it way too easy. Doesn't at all do any of that. It actually just helps you traverse the land a lot. It's simpler and a lot easier. I think it's a welcome addition that I'm really glad they came up with, because it works. It doesn't pull too much. It doesn't push too hard. It's just kind of there, and you can use it. You don't have to use it. I promise you that much. There is no requirement to use it. If you really want to traverse the lane without it, go ahead. It's a lot more difficult, and when you do, it's going to be really hard to go back. But that was definitely a good addition. Another thing is another Batman Arkham-esque approach they made to the game was with the combat and the stealth. Instead of refining it and instead of just overhauling the entire system, they refined the system. They made it better in every way, just simple. They didn't go overboard with it. They didn't try to do too much. They just made the combat feel more realistic, and they made the stealth a little more accurate to what would happen. You know, one of the things I hate, though, is that every single year with Assassin's Creed, I think, oh, this is the year they're going to do the giant, mega overhaul. Not this year. There was no giant, mega, super overhaul. They just kind of kept everything the same. And in order for the game to progress, they have to eventually make that jump. Another problem is that during the previews and things, they made it seem as if Evie and Jacob would have significantly different play styles, where Evie's the more stealthy kind of, you can't see her kind of gal. Jacob's the more in-your-face, confrontational kind of fighter guy. But at the end of the day, you can do either or with both of them, and there's not too much about them to make them feel unique as an individual character. It feels like one's a girl, one's a guy. That's the only difference it feels to me. And yes, in some cases, you can only do certain upgrades with, Jacob or Evie, that it doesn't feel unique enough to make it seem like that they're different, But getting back to something I just said, upgrade. The upgrade system is one of the best I've seen in a video game in a long time, because it's simple. It's simple, fast, and easy. You find the upgrade you want, you update it, or you upgrade it. You pick the upgrade you want. After you get certain skill points for doing different missions, activities, etc., etc. And after you get a certain amount of skill points, you automatically update to the next level. Now, the leveling system, that part of it, a little confusing, because I don't see any difference. As long as you're upgrading and you're keeping your stats where they need to be, keeping your upgrades where they need to be, you'll barely even notice that you're at level 7 or 8. You won't even matter. But it really is simple. Your weapons, simple upgrades. You just hit a button, it gets a little stronger. Upgrade system for your abilities, you hit a button, you get a little better at whatever that ability is. Another great thing is that you get to ride the carriages. Now, the carriage fights are some of my favorite in any video game. Not the fact that I've been playing a lot of games with carriage fights. I mean, I can't think of one. But in this game, it feels a lot more authentic than when you're driving on GTA 5 and you're just driving, every car drives the same. Some just go a little faster than others. The shootouts and things like that don't feel realistic enough. On this one, in this game, riding the carriages feels accurate. It feels real. It feels like this is how they used to ride carriages in Victorian London, and it's really, really a lot of fun. So the gameplay wise, like I said, didn't change a lot, but the small things they did change and add really do make the game feel better all around. Moving on to sound. I mean, it's an Assassin's Creed game. You're going to get a pretty good soundtrack, and it's going to sound really well. Where the game sound really shines, is atmospherically putting me in Victorian London. The noises, the way people talk, the accents, everything about them screams authenticity. And that's one thing I love about this game, is it feels like I'm in London when I play it, sound-wise and graphics-wise, which we'll move on to in a second. But it just feels so accurate to a T. Everything about it feels amazing. Everything you hear about it feels amazing, and the fact that they added in the different European accents made it feel even more accurate. Whereas other Assassin's Creed games, I never really heard the accent, so everyone was just American to me. This is the first Assassin's Creed game I played where it felt like there was more than just Americans. It felt like there was British, and there was Irish, and there was a big mix of different cultures, and that for me made the experience feel even that much more authentic. So I feel like the sound really shined here, soundtrack wise and voice acting and voice thing wise. It really worked all together. Graphically, I mean, it looks as good as Unity. I think one of my favorite moments of the game when I first started playing was it was a mission for Alexander Graham Bell where you had to go help fix the boxes we could put up telephone lines. One of the best parts of that mission was I climbed all the way to the top of Big Ben, and I looked down and I looked at all the things they built, and I just realized how much effort they put into making this game look fantastic. And the thing is, Unity looks fantastic. I don't want to discount the fact that Unity is an incredible looking game. The problem with Unity was glitched to all hell, but that's not the point. The point is that graphically, Assassin's Creed Syndicate is amazing. While there are other games on the market I feel look a little better, this game still sets a bar at what you need to look at minimum. The amount of boats and people you can see from the top, they don't fade out just because you're not on the ground level. You still see the carriages, the smoke coming from the industrial revolution buildings, factories. I don't know why I said what I just said. Like I said, there's some games I feel that look better, but this game look good. The crowds, one thing in Unity they boasted about is about, oh, look how big the crowds are. Look at all the people. But they didn't say why they needed the people or what point the people played. In this game, the people played a much larger role, and it felt accurate. It felt like there was a point behind why they had so many people. And I felt that really lent itself to why they needed the big crowds, but they're not unfathomably big. And if they are, they have a point to why they're that big. Another thing is the character models. The character models, they look like they did in Unity. I feel that for a game that's been after Unity, it looked a lot like Unity. It didn't really look a lot different. I hope with the next game they make a big, graphical overhaul and big gameplay overhaul. I hope this is the game that leaves the old Assassin's Creed behind and makes a brand new generation of Assassin's Creed. But on time will tell. Overall, the graphics, good. Nothing spectacular. I mean, if you've seen Arkham Knight or Witcher 3, you've seen spectacular. But this was good, great even. Now, I add a fifth category. That's, I just decided I gotta add something to make this different than every other reviewer on the world. And I call it the X Factor. The X Factor is the one thing that makes the game incredible or makes the game terrible. Okay, it's what I feel is the clincher. What the game did, whether it's something they did, something they marketed, something just about the game that made the game incredible. And for me, the best part about the game was the fact that it made up for what they did with Unity in every way. The glitches were very, very few, far in between. I mean, I found a few, you're gonna find glitches in every game, but they didn't happen as prevalently. The game didn't not work. The day one patch, it was a day one patch. It wasn't huge like some games are. It did what it was supposed to do. It came out with a very solid title after a very failed title, and that's all this game was supposed to do, was to bring authenticity back to the Assassin's Creed name. So would I say it's a comeback? Yes, I would. I think the X factor in this game was the fact that they made up for a horrible, horrible title. And I mean, what more can you ask for from an Assassin's Creed game? If you're an Assassin's Creed fan, you already know what you're going to get when you buy the game. But if you're new to the franchise, I wouldn't suggest this game, because I think Black Flag would be the game I suggest. But because it's a stabilizer game. It's bringing them back up to the quality of what we expect Assassin's Creed to be. Hopefully with the next game they take more risk and try to make the game more unique and different. But, time can only tell. So, a solid game. Not the greatest game of all time. Probably definitely not game of the year. But a solid game nonetheless. So, in conclusion, Assassin's Creed Syndicate gets an 8 out of 10. While the story isn't the greatest story in the franchise, it has its moments. Evie and Jacob, they're very likable. I think they're two of the most likable characters. They're both polar opposites, but gameplay-wise, they play kind of the same. A couple of differences. It's not. And the game didn't really push anything. It didn't push anything revolutionary. It didn't set any precedents, which I think that's what the next game has to do in order for Ubisoft to justify making an Assassin's Creed every year. I think this next game has to be revolutionary. It has to change gaming forever. Like Black Flag. When Black Flag came out, it was probably one of the best, if not the best Assassin's Creed game we're ever going to play. So if they make another Black Flag, I will continue to buy Ubisoft games. But if not, they always made a version for Xbox One and PS4. So guys, thank you so much for watching. You know, it's great to get the video out. And I'll be doing this weekly now, and I'll have other videos sprinkled in the middle of the week. But that's all I got. So until then, you know, like, subscribe, share, comment, you know, whatever it is, you know, you guys like to do on YouTube. Do what you want. You know, this is a democracy. I'm not gonna force you to do anything. But until we meet again, guys, have a great life.